You remind me of my favorite bourbon. Take a sip of you, baby, I'm swerving from left to right. Left to right. You remind me of my favorite bourbon. Take two more shots, you know I'm swerving from left to right. All night. Would you call me old fashioned if I kiss you in the rain in Manhattan? Oh, I can't wait until my lips are on yours. I can't help the way that I'm feeling. The way you look tonight is so appealing. Hold up, I need to pace myself. You're the bullet to my heart, I swear. I swear. Only took one shot. Only took one shot. The only thing I'll promise is I'll give you all I've got. Oh, you remind me of my favorite bourbon. Take a sip of you, baby, I'm swerving from left to right. Left to right. You remind me of my favorite bourbon. Take two more shots, you know I'm swerving from left to right.
Yeah, look, alright. Now pretty bourbon brown eyes, can I grab you off the shelf? You sweet but you strong, I gotta have you to myself. I'm trying to let you know that you're the only drink I'm trying to pour. Girl, it's Dunson, aka the slurring bourbon connoisseur. And look, I had a couple, so you know I'm telling the truth. I don't settle for Kettle One, I don't settle for Goose. First we had a couple rounds just to see how it go. Now it's time to tap that barrel, girl, let's see how it flow. You got that caramel dripping, now I'm sipping. They can't take you straight, but baby, I'm built different. It feels different. Listen, you keep getting Dunson loose. You far from the jungle juice, but you keep it 100 proof. I don't need no Coca-Cola or no Sprite for you. And yeah, you good on the rocks, might put that ice on you. You got that Jameson, that Johnny, or that Jack, and you can miss me. I need bourbon in my life, cause baby, you my favorite whiskey. Come on.
I don't want you holding back. Tell me everything, and I do mean everything, everything, everything. It's time for last call. You know that this liquor been flowing faster than free fall. If we keep going, I might not be able to recall. Shot. Only thing I'll promise is I'll give you all I've got. Oh, you remind me of my favorite bourbon. Take a sip of you, baby, I'm swerving from left to right. Left to right. You remind me of my favorite bourbon. Take two more shots, you know I'm swerving from left to right. The band play on, and they be playing our song.
Girl, it's Dunson, aka the slurring bourbon connoisseur. And look.
Hey y'all, what's smacking? How you crack-a-lacking? How you crack-a-lacking? What's smacking? Hey LaWanda, hey London, hey Ray Rap, hey Miss Yvonne, hey Psalmist, hey Lil Unique, hey Brown Eyes, hey Lakita. How y'all doing? What's going on? What's happening? Y'all here for the wine, huh? You here to wine with me? Okay. So I am Lisa the X, aka Brown Whiskey Woman, Executive Bourbon Steward at your service. And I am live from Lock and Key Media Studio Space 2 in the ATL, shawty. That's where I am. So I won't forget. I wanted to start off with it. Exclamation point CDR is the command for Cool Dads Rock. The Derby is next weekend, next Saturday, the 23rd. They are very close to the $10,000 goal. I think they've raised about $8,000, a little bit over $8,000. So as of today, so please donate, exclamation point CDR. This is LV's nonprofit, Cool Dads Rock. They do the Derby every year. So make sure that we are supporting. Okay, Salma said it, less than 1,500 away. That's wonderful. And the goal is $10,000. So yeah, make sure that you donate to this cause. And, I know he has other things in the works with it. He's talked about a book scholarship and some other things that he wants to add to the fold of his organization. So please make sure that you are utilizing the link and share the link with people, even folks that are not on Twitch. They can donate. And if you're here in the Atlanta area, go to the Derby and support for sure. All right. So last week, we talked about whiskey decanters. I showed you all some really cool pictures of some different things. The slideshow will never, ever compare to the Christmas slideshow, but it was some good stuff in there. And I had a near-death experience where the stopper flew past me and did not damage the stopper nor me. Okay, so someone said the book scholarship will get whatever comes in above and beyond. Okay, yeah. All right, thank you for sharing that. So yes, the stopper did not kill me. I am still here. We dumped the Coke out of that decanter, and I took that home and washed that, and yeah, it's back in the box. Yeah, it didn't take my eye out, most definitely. But also last week, I went on a field trip. I went to visit a distillery with my son. And if you all recall, when my son was a guest on the show, we talked about going to visit a distillery, and we did. We went to the Distillery of Modern Art, which is located in Chamblee, Georgia. And I have some pictures that I am going to share with you all from that visit. We had really, really good time. So let's take a look at those. So this is the outside of the building, and you can see it looks very artsy, doesn't it? And that is their logo. That it's the Distillery of Modern Art. So that's their logo that they put together. Next. Okay. So these are some pictures of inside. Of course, as you walk in, you do see the stills. So the first picture is called a pot still, and that makes it in batches. That makes the whiskey or whatever they're distilling in batches. And then that's the second view of it. That's a back view of it. And then next to it, that is actually where the distillate comes out. Those two, they look like pumps almost, but it's perfectly clear when it comes off of the still because the barrels are what give it the color and the aging for the whiskey. And right, Simon said it. You guys saw that in Cincinnati because we went to a distillery there for an event. And so now you get a chance to see another picture of them. Next. So this is some of the art that was featured. And the gentleman that gave us the tour told us that they change the art out on a regular basis. So this week was, or while we were there, I won't say this week. I don't know how long this installation will be up. It was all abstract art. And so these were some of the pieces that were there. Next. So this was also part of the art, but this is there permanently. And these are just bottles with colored water in them, but it's beautiful. I thought it was gorgeous. And one of the things my son said to me, he was like, you would like this, wouldn't you? You would like to have this like in your house, wouldn't you? I said, yeah, I would. I would like to have that in my house. I mean, I just love the way it looked. And the bottles are movable. So you see how some of them are angled and then some of them are straight. You can move those. So I thought that was really great. That was really cool. Next. So this was our tasting. So we took a tour of the distillery. They showed us the grain vats, and that is where they're actually, putting the corn and the barley and whatever else they're using They put that in vats. They add the yeast, the water is fermenting, and then they took us to where the grain is stored, and then to the stills where you saw the pictures of the stills, and then afterwards we got a tasting. So these were the things that we tasted. So the very first thing that we tasted was a peach vodka, which was really, really good. And you all know I'm not a vodka drinker, but I really liked it. My son liked it so much that he asked me to buy him a bottle of it, and I did as part of his birthday. And then the second thing was corn whiskey. I told the gentleman that I was not fond of corn whiskey. Now, this was better quality. Hey, Mac. He walked in right on time. I told the man I was not a fan of corn whiskey, but this was much better than that old apple pie corn whiskey I tasted that time. This was better, but I still didn't really, I'm not a fan of corn whiskey. That's just all it is to it. And then the last one is called Amaro. And Amaro is like a botanical type of liqueur. And it is made from herbs usually. But this was a peach Amaro, and it was really good. It wasn't super sweet, had a nice balance. I could see it being really, really good in some cocktails. So we enjoyed the tasting. The tasting was really nice. And then the slide next to it, the picture next to it, that in the Glencairn class, I had to have some bourbon. Had to try some bourbon. So this was my tasting of their bourbon. Both Mac and I tasted it. And it was very good, very smooth. It's aged about 4 years. The distillery has not been around very long. So they're kind of young in the aging process of their whiskeys and their other liquors. But this was very tasty, very smooth. I enjoyed it. Mac did as well. Next. So we also got a cocktail. You all also drank some gin. Our cocktail was made from gin, and it was called Don't Let Me Down. That was the name of it. Basically, it was a bee's knees. I don't know if you all are familiar with that cocktail, but bee's knees is like lemon juice, honey, cinnamon. This added ginger into it as well, and it was made with gin. And it was really good. I drank it. I actually drank it. Hey, This Girl TV. Hey, David C. Dennis. Welcome. Yeah, I'm in here talking about what I drank, and I drank some gin. And that is the menu. And so you can see all of the different drinks that they had. They had a lot of really unusual names. Mac also had a drink called International Lover. That was really good. He tried that. It was also a gin-based drink, and he said it was very good. I really enjoyed the gin cocktail. Normally, I would have asked him to substitute it, but I wanted to taste it in its pure form. And when he told me it was similar to a bee's knees, I was like, I think I'll like it. And I did. It was really good. Next. So this is some of the art. And what the gentleman explained to us is that they gave particular artist inspiration by saying, okay, what does this particular liquor remind you of, or what would it invoke in terms of your rendition? So the first one is actually the peach Amaro, and that's what they came up with. The second one is called rye whiskey. And that was what the artist came up with that. Hey, Stormy, how you doing? Yeah, it does kind of remind you of a kaleidoscope. I agree. And then the last one, I don't remember which one that is, but I think that's also one of the whiskeys as well. I would have to look on my phone and recall what it is. But anyway, those are their renditions of the different liquors. See, now I feel bad that I knew the other two, but I can't remember that one. So I might have to actually look it up and zoom in on it. I don't know. But anyway, next. So these are some interior shots of the place. When we got there, we were the only two people there. And we were the only two people on the tour. And some people came in a little bit later and sat at the bar. And then a couple came in, walked out. I think they thought it was going to be like a little bit busier than it was. And we went on Friday. And I'm thinking that perhaps it's a little bit busier, maybe on Saturday night. It's in Chamblee, Georgia. And it's called the Distillery of Modern Art. So really nice. Of course, the cement floors, they were beautiful. I mean, just a really, really nice place. Yeah. And they do have events there. Psalmist said it looks like a great place. They did have a huge event room, and they had a lot of really interesting events on their website. And that is going through Stream Elements if you care to check it out. They have a calligraphy class they're going to be hosting. They do yoga. They have cooking classes. They had pottery. They had a cake decorating class. It's actually coming up on August 24th. So they have a lot of really nice events. And of course, you get a cocktail included in whatever it is that you're doing. So you can be doing some pottery and drinking at the same time. So that would be a good thing. I guess that'd be kind of fun. And yeah, it was really, really nice. We really enjoyed it. Okay, and so the picture that I couldn't remember the name of it, I felt bad because yeah, there we go. That one on the end. I'm going to look and tell you the name of it. That was their rendition of Vodka. That was the artist's rendition of Vodka. So pretty cool. All right. Next. So I took a picture of the bathroom because even the bathroom was artistic. I know that seems crazy, but when I walked in there, I was like, wow, look at the bathroom. I thought it was great. I was really impressed by that. And then the second picture is a picture of when I first walked in. That is actually crushed up glass. It's one of their crushed up bottles. And it was put on top of the wording. And I think that is the mash bill. So I just loved it. I mean, now I'm going to tell you something about Mac and I. A lot of times and Mac is an artist, but a lot of times when we go places and we look at things, right? Yeah, Mac, you should have taken a picture in the men's bathroom. When we look at like abstract art, we have the Olivia complex. So let me explain to you all what the Olivia complex is in case you all don't know. If you all remember the Olivia books. Hey, Cruz, how you doing? Olivia was this character, right? And she was always up to something. She was always doing something. So in one of the books, Olivia goes to an art gallery and she sees this abstract art and she looks at it and she says, I could do that in like 5 minutes because it's abstract art and it just looks like some colors, kind of thrown up there together. So Mac and I jokingly say that when we see abstract art. Now, we realize there is definitely some intention and interpretation and craftsmanship with the whole abstract art. We know this, but that's just our little joke of just looking at it and thinking about Olivia every time we see it. But that glass one, I really did like that one. I thought that was really nice. So again, Stream Elements just came up and you see it is the distillery of modernart.com. That is the website. And if you go, you can see some additional pictures of their establishment, but also you can see the great events and, of course, precisely where it's located. Next. So these are the bottles. And though this picture is not the greatest in terms of showing the art that's on the back of the bottle, every one of the bottles has the same rendition that's on the wall that depicts that particular liquor on the back of the bottle. It's embedded in the glass. And so I thought that was really cool too. So, I mean, basically the bottle is like a work of art. So the peach flavored vodka is the one that Mac wanted. So that's the one that we purchased. So that was his photo, which I thought was very artistic because he took that at home. I thought he did a good job with that. So, but you can see just the lineup of all the bottles. So it's really nice, really cool place. The tasting was like $25 per person. They have some date night special things that they do as well, if you're interested in that. And then the events vary in pricing. So I guess it depends on what it is that you're doing. Like the calligraphy class, I think it's like $100 per person because it includes all of the materials, your drink, you're there. It might be like some small bites or something included with it. But if you're interested, go check it out. They had some really good stuff there and a really, really nice place. Natty, thank you so much for your resub. I appreciate it. Tier 2. And so that is the end of the slideshow or the photos for the Distillery of Modern Art. And Mac and I really enjoyed ourselves. And like I said, I highly recommend it. So this week, I am drinking wine, you all. Can you believe that? But I'm not just drinking any old kind of wine. Y'all know me. We are going to be drinking wine that is cured in bourbon barrels. So I want to tell you a little bit about the winemaking process. I learned a lot this week. I learn a lot every week, but I learned a lot this week because you all know I'm not really a wine drinker. There we go. Locke's resub for the second time this month. Thank you, Locke. Appreciate it. Hey, DJ Lady Prestige. I was wondering when that was going to come up. I was waiting. But I want to talk a little bit about the basics for winemaking because this is education for me. And hopefully a little bit of education for you all. But I know we do have some people that drink wine. And that said, I'm going to ask you all how many people in here drink wine in just a couple of minutes. But the winemaking process. First of all, the person who's in charge of the growing of the grapes and all of the things that go on outside is called a viticulturist. I did not know that. I knew a wine expert is called a sommelier. I knew that. But it's called a viticulturist. That's the person who is in charge of everything outside. So the simplified process. Harvesting, the grapes are picked on ripeness, sweetness, and acidity. Oh, hey, Blessed Day. Thank you for the resub. Appreciate you. Tier 2, thank you. I appreciate the support very much. And thank you guys for level 2. Hype train. Hey, Amber, how you doing? So first is the harvesting, then it's the sorting and the crushing. The healthy grapes are sorted, the skins are crushed to release the juice. Then it's the fermentation process. Yeast is added to the grape juice, and the process of fermentation begins. This converts the sugar to alcohol and carbon dioxide. Then next is clarification. So the wine is clarified to remove any impurities and improve the visual clarity of the actual product. Then we have aging. Psalmist, thank you so much for the gift sub. Aging allows for the wine to age in barrels or other containers to develop the flavors and the tannins. So the average aging process for white wine is about 5 years. For red, it's between 5 and 10 years, usually about 7. I was not aware that it took red longer until I started to do this research. And then the final thing is the bottling. So, of course, when it gets to bottling, that's when it goes to the stores, it's distributed, and it's ready to be enjoyed. But that is the basic process for wine. So another thing that I learned was whenever you see venti or vintage, that is the year in which the grapes were harvested. So you often will see that on bottles. And one of the bottles that I have, I know it's there because I saw it. And it made me curious about what exactly did that mean. But that's the year that the grapes were harvested. So, of course, a good vintage is typically marked by the weather conditions, balance, no extreme events leading to the wines having any type of issue, but they're going to be more flavorful and complex depending on the year that they were harvested. And also, vintage affects the price of the wine. So I watched a documentary, and the documentary is called, I'm going to get the title right, The Mostly Serious History of Wine. I watched it on Tubi, and I watched that this morning. And one of the things that it talked about was how winemaking began in Georgia. And that was news to me because I had no clue that that is where it began. But it began in Georgia because Georgia was the place where they have found vessels that held wine first. So that's what archaeologists discovered. So that was pretty fascinating. And we do have a lot of vineyards. That is the documentary, The Mostly Serious History of Wine. So there is some humor in it. I really enjoyed it. And I think I watched it on Plex or Tubi. I can't remember which one I watched it on. But I watched that this morning because I thought that I should know a little bit more about what I was drinking today. Psalmist, thank you so much for the gift sub to Tab, my Twitch bestie. Thank you guys so much for the hype train. I really appreciate it. So yeah, I thought that this was really cool. So this is really interesting. The woman down in the corner, the African American woman you see, she's a wine sommelier, and she actually has some really great concepts and information that she shared about wine. One of the things that I found out, and I thought this was really interesting, I actually think it's applicable to a lot of things, but she was asked the question, how much do you think marketing or promotion affects the sale of wine? She said about 65%. Now, I kind of think that about everything because it's like whatever's advertised, whatever's popular, a lot of times people will buy it. Doesn't really matter if it's good or bad. So I thought that was pretty cool. So really great interviews. They show some vineyards, great information, and some humor, of course, was sprinkled in there. Psalmist, thank you again for the gift sub. I appreciate it. So really, really great documentary. If you're interested in knowing more about wine and you don't want it to be, too heavy, you would enjoy this. Of course, there's others out there, and I'll probably wind up watching some of those, but I watched this one this morning. All right, so let's talk about the bourbon barrel aged wine because that's what I'm going to be trying today. So the bourbon barrel aged wine has boomed since its introduction in 2014. So because bourbon barrels have to be new by law and they have to be 100% American oak with a heavy char, there's a lot of flavor that's left in them. So even after they take the whiskey out of it, there's still a lot of flavor left in those barrels. So winemakers said, hey, what if we take these barrels and we pour wine in it for finishing and see what kind of flavor does it add? So that's what I'm going to be tasting today. I actually have 4 different wines that I am going to taste. So this has been a thing since 2014. Sometimes winemakers noted that they have to actually pull the wine out and not let it age as long because the bourbon will, or whatever whiskey was in there, it doesn't necessarily have to be bourbon, but we're talking about bourbon barrels today. It will overpower the wine. So that was kind of interesting to me as well. Now, usually bourbon barrels are used maybe 3 or 4 years. And then after that, thank you, This Girl TV, you're nodding. It's okay, I get it. Even though they're used 3 or 4 years, they don't destroy them. They can be reused. They can sell them to other distillers. They can sell them to the wine companies. Sometimes beer companies will buy them and finish their beer in it. There's lots of uses. Of course, they make furniture out of them. They do all kinds of great things with those barrels. So these winemakers decided they were going to use it to finish their wine. But they do sometimes have to take it out so it won't overwhelm. So I did think that that was really important to point out. So let's get to tasting. So I'm going to start with Behringer. Behringer is known for establishing many firsts as leaders in the wine industry. They're one of the first to do gravity-fed facilities. So a gravity-fed facility is basically one where they allow the liquid or whatever it is that they're distilling to naturally just come down, right? Gravity is its friend, basically. And it eliminates the need for so much machinery. So they will put the grapes, basically, they start the process on the top floor and then it flows down. So they were one of the first to do that. They were also the first to operate using hand-dug caves and cellars. They were the first to give public tours in the Napa Valley starting in 1934. So they kind of kicked off the whole Napa Valley hospitality tradition. So yeah. Okay, so London, you said, have they ever let the wine stay in the barrels too long and taste test it? I'm sure the answer to that is yes. I do know if it's wine will turn kind of like to a vinegar or very high acidic sort of flavor if it sits too long. I don't know if that's applicable to the barrel only or to the bottle. I don't know if it's both or either, but I do know that that will happen because they've discovered wine that was like 200 years old and it probably tastes like shit. That'd be my thought that it probably tastes like shit. Hey, C Love, how you doing? So yeah, because I think there's a very fine line with the acidity in the grapes and vinegar. So there's probably some balancing, the whole fermentation process. They got to be really careful with that. But yeah, I wouldn't crack open anything that was after a certain age and say, yeah, I'm gonna drink this. That would be a no for me. So the caves give some automatic insulation. And it keeps the temperature in the tunnels at 58 to 60 degrees with humidity. So it's like perfect conditions for storing the wine. So the one that I am trying today is this one. So this is Behringer Brothers. And I started the opening process so you all didn't have to sit here and watch me struggle. But this is Behringer Brothers Chardonnay out of California, of course. It's a bourbon barrel aged Chardonnay. And this is 96% Chardonnay. Chardonnay is the type of grape. So whenever you see a wine and you talk about all these different types, it is referencing the type of grape. So Chardonnay is the type of grape. Then it uses 4% of another variety of grape. This is just like a general variety of grape. 20% of the wine is aged 60 days, only 60 days, in a second use American oak barrel, bourbon barrel. 25% of the wine undergoes something called malolactic fermentation. When I read that, I was like, what? Hey, that boy Drew Gaiman. How you doing? I didn't know what that was. I was like, what does that mean? So I looked it up, and this is what it said. It's a softer fermentation process that creates a rounder, fuller, I quote, mouthfeel. I was like, mouthfeel? What does that mean? When it comes to wine, right? I mean, I thought some other stuff, but I was like, mouthfeel? Just saying. Well, obviously, mouthfeel is a thing in wine because as I researched and continued to look up lots of information, mouthfeel came up a lot. And mouthfeel also came up in that documentary that I told you all about. They talk about mouthfeel. So I guess it's a thing. And I guess I'm going to find out today. But it says it enhances the body and flavor, giving greater palate softness. So I guess basically this malolactic fermentation gives it a softer taste. That's what we're going to go with, right? So let's go ahead and put your comment out there. I mean, why would you keep your comment to yourself? Anyway, so I started this so it would be easier. And we're going to pour a little bit up. So for this one, I actually have the regular Chardonnay as well. Okay, I'm going to give that to you, Lot, to take that cork off. Because I want to know if I can taste the difference, right? I want to know if I can taste the difference. So let me look at this bottle a little bit too. Beringer has been around since 1876. This, again, age 60 days. The Venti is 2022. So that is the year that the grapes were harvested. The alcohol by volume is 14.5%. It says vented, bottled, and cellared by the oldest continuously operating winery in the valley. So I found out that during Prohibition, when nobody could drink any liquor, they were actually granted a special permission or certificate to continue making wine for sacramental purposes for the churches. So that's something that's unique about Beringer. So let's pour it up. Ooh. That had a beautiful gurgle. Absolutely wonderful. And it looks really nice. Got a little piece of cork in there. I really do. But I'm going to drink it though. Not the cork, but. So what I'm getting is I get fruit. Kind of like, I would say apricot, right? This girl TV says so mouthfeel for the churches. Yeah. Some I do not. I don't have anything but it's a very tiny piece. Actually, I got it right there. It's right there on the side. So here we go. So I'm going to taste this. We'll see. See what kind of mouthfeel I get, right? You all actually taste the whiskey. I can taste the bourbon. I definitely can taste the bourbon finish on this. So what's going to be really interesting here is I have the Beringer regular Chardonnay. And I'm thinking I'm going to be able to tell the difference between these two, but this is nice. Psalmist, no. It will not make me a wine drinker. I mean, not solely. I do like wine. I've gotten into wine like maybe the last, I would say 3 years or so. And I have found some wines that I really liked. My issue with wine, you all know it. Heard me hear, tell the story so many times. Either I was sleepy or amorous. So I had to figure out what was it about it that did that. And I found out it was the type of grape. It's not all wines. It's the type of grape that does that to me. And I found out it was the Muscat grape or the Moscato. That's what it is. So yeah, that was, once I found that out, then I was like, okay, I can try some other things. So you all know my rating. I give this a hell yeah. This gets a hell yeah. I really, really like this. Now, I'm going to take some water. I don't know what you're supposed to drink in between to clear your palate. I don't. But I'm going to just drink some room temperature water. And I'm going to taste the regular Chardonnay. And this, I wanted to show you all this. I didn't want to take the whole wrapper off because I wanted you all to see it. So this came from a liquor store, and you can see it's already pre-made, right? All you got to do is pop the top, and it's like a little plastic cover on it, have foil on top of it. You chill it and you drink it, right? So I'm going to taste this and see if I can taste the difference between this and the bourbon barrel finish. Definitely can taste the difference. So Chardonnay has a very buttery, smooth type taste to me. Hey, Eb, how you doing? The Chardonnay that's finished in the bourbon barrel has an extra layer to it. And I can taste the difference between this plain Chardonnay and the bourbon barrel finish. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to taste the difference. This is kind of bland. I'm going to be honest. This doesn't have a whole lot of flavor to it. I like Chardonnay, but I don't think I really like the plain Chardonnay. I think that I would much prefer the one finished in a bourbon barrel. Yes, a better mouthfeel. Most definitely a better mouthfeel. So, but this is really cool. I think I bought these, like they were on like the clearance area for maybe $2 or $3 or something like that. I had a bunch of them in my garage. And you can see it's wrapped up. Oh, nice. And then, of course, you just take the wrapper off. And then you have your little wine glass already set up. So I can see this being really cool for like a party or a get together. And then the person can just put the lid back on top of it like I am. And there they go, right? Got your little wine to go, I guess. So I'll put that off to the side. But yeah, the Behringer gets a good grade. Like that. Hell yeah. All right. So let me drink some water in between. Crew says slide it this way. Okay. Okay. So, and I hear you guys over there talking about Catholic communion and all of that stuff, right? And all the wine they used to drink and the priests and all that, right? I just chose not to get involved in that. I went to Catholic school, so I'll leave that alone. So the next one, this one is called Carnivore. So this one is a Cabernet Sauvignon. So Sauvignon is a type of grape. Again, the Cabernet is a type of grape. And this one, I bought it because I liked the way the bottle looked, to be perfectly honest. It was something about the bottle that kind of had like this mysterious sort of look to me. Well, when I went to the website, it was mysterious because it wasn't hardly anything on that website. Their saying is meat is made for carnivore. Of course, you know, they talk about the pairings with steak and beef and, you know, all of the great stuff. They age for 2 months in the bourbon barrel. The vent on this is 2018. I like the website, but it just wasn't a lot of information on the website. So yeah, we're gonna see. I think we're gonna see. Oh, okay. It would help if I put this in there the right way. We're gonna see what this one tastes like. Come on, corkscrew. There we go. Spread your wings, corkscrew. And we're going to see what this tastes like. Woo! The gurgle is killing me. I love it. All right. So this is a red, obviously. It smells like Nothing. It has an old wine smell. And I know I'm not supposed to say that. I know I'm not supposed to say it smells like alcohol or wine, but it smells like old wine. That's what it smells like to me. I hope it tastes better. We'll see. And I guess I'm supposed to swirl it around. They always swirl wine around because I guess it's supposed to help release the bouquet or something. I don't know. You don't swirl whiskey, so but you swirl wine. All right, I'm gonna try it again because this was something I learned in the documentary that I watched today. You should always try it twice. Okay, so Ray Rap said it allows it to breathe. Thank you. When you swirl it around, it allows it to breathe. Okay. This gets the mid-meh because I don't know. Maybe I would, Somas, if I used an aerator. Maybe I would. Maybe it would hit a little bit differently. It gets a mid-meh because I don't really taste much of anything. And I didn't want to give it to Fragonagle because I don't normally like Cabernet. That's like not my favorite. It's not my favorite red. So I feel like I'm kind of already have like a bias, and I don't want to put that on it. But even if I had a steak right now in this moment, I don't see. I don't feel. I don't. Carnivorewine.com. Pretty website. Yep. Mid-May. Okay, so this girl TV said let it sit for a few minutes and go back to it. Okay, and I will do that. I'm with it. I'm with it. All right. So I'm gonna drink some water and I'm gonna just. Is that a new rating? Just to. I don't. Yeah, that's a.
I'll just call that fighting air.
Okay.
Because this will look like you look like you was getting. You was defending yourself from the air over there.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so this girl TV said you learn that you taste more of the things they say you should taste if it's aerated. Okay, so that's good to know as well. That's a good thing to know. So the next one I'm going to talk about is Robert Mondavi. Right, this is their private selection. This is finished in a rye whiskey barrel. And this is a red blend. I have a feeling I might like this one a little bit better. But let's talk about Robert Mondavi. Robert Mondavi's been around since 1966. He opened the first major winery in Napa since Prohibition. And he has, I think it's over 450 acres of vineyards. But the main vineyard, which was named the best vineyard in North America and top 10 in the world by the world's best vineyards, is called Tokalon. And Tokalon is Greek for highest beauty. It was originally planted in 1868, and they used something called terroir. And terroir is a term that you hear a lot in wine. Has to do with the perfect conditions of the soil, the climate. Everything is just aligned to produce a better product. Now, they are getting into terroir for whiskey as well, because a lot of times the grains that are used for whiskey come from someplace else. But with terroir, everything is there together. Everything is all done in one place. So since this is a blend, I am hoping that this is going to be a little bit more to my liking. So I do want to look at the back of this bottle because, again, this is the private selection. It says, marries the craftsmanship of California winemaking with the southern tradition of rye whiskey barrel aging. The cool climate of our coastal vineyards imparts the wine with lush, dark fruit flavors of plum, black cherry, and blackberry. Select lots are then aged in rye whiskey barrels, delivering a twist of rye and gingerbread spice and subtle toasted oak when added to the blend. Now, I want to point out that every bottle that I'm trying today is under $25. I purposely chose ones that were under $25 because I wanted to make sure that I was doing something that was mid-priced, not the most expensive, not drinking, Rock Gut Mad Dog 2020. But I wanted to try some that were kind of in the middle. All right, so let's see what Robert Mondavi is talking about. It starts gurgling before it even pours. Like, whew. So Simon said, best wine you had so far has been very affordable, the Robert Mondavi. Okay. So now this one I can smell more fruit. Okay, right off the bat. I get a hint of cherry. Yeah. I definitely can smell more fruit than I did with the carnivore. Okay. So let's see what this tastes like. Now, right off the bat, I would say this is drier, even though it's a red blend, and I can taste the rye. I definitely can taste the rye. Now, you all know that I am a fan of rye whiskey. I am not sure if other people could taste what I'm tasting if they are not whiskey drinkers. But I can taste it, and particularly because I had the first one was the regular Chardonnay, and then the barrel finished Chardonnay. I could taste the difference in those, but I can taste the rye. Rye adds a spice to whiskey, and I definitely can. It's giving this wine a little bit of spice, a little bit of kick, and it kind of is like secondary over the palate. I'm getting the wine and the fruit taste forward, and then it finishes with that rye or that kick. So I can taste the difference between those. I like this one. I think that I'm going to give this one, where's my hell yeah? He gets the hell yeah. I like it. Yeah, Psalmist said it. Some of the cheaper wines, again, all of these were under $25. They can be the better ones. Hey, J Trey, how you doing? And again, 65% of what's good or what they say is good is marketing, right? And I believe that applicable to all things, but they definitely say it for wine. So it's not always what you think is going to be good, because vineyards make great stuff all the time. And I think it's about trying different things and seeing, again, what you like, because what you like is the most important thing. In anything that you're drinking, anything you're eating, do you like it? If you like it, that's all that matters. It doesn't matter how much it costs. So this one I like. And all of these are out of California, needless to say. Didn't find any Georgia wines, though there are some Georgia wines that I know of, because we have Chateau Elan, which makes excellent wine. They make a muscadine wine that is excellent. Yes, I mean, it's very good, but it's not barrel aged, so I had to stay on task. But really good. I like the blend. I like the blend a lot better. All right. So the last one that I'm going to try is called 1000 Stories. They are the first modern bourbon aged wine. They're the first to come out with this. Fetzer Vineyards is who produces it, and they released it in 2014. So they were the pioneer. Now they're not. That's not the first time that winemakers use bourbon barrels in winemaking, but they're the first to really make it a thing. So one thing that happened in their history is they said years ago when they started out, wine barrels were not widely available to them. So they had to figure out what could they use. So they bought bourbon barrels and they neutralized them. So neutralizing them is basically they were using them and almost like proofing down the barrel so it didn't have such a bourbon taste or such a whiskey taste to it. But they used that. It's a very common practice now, but in 2014 it was not. And they started to age their wine in it. And of course, it was extracting from the barrel because that is what happens. Because there's a portion of whiskey that is absorbed by the barrel, and it is called the devil's cut. The portion that evaporates is called the angel share. So there's a portion of whiskey that's lost out of the barrel, out of every single barrel every year. The longer it sits in the rickhouse, the more this is going to occur. But that liquid is still in that wood. So when you let something else sit in there, it's extracting. It's extracting that. So that's where this flavor profile comes in. So I want to take a look at 1000 Stories website because they have a really, really nice website. So before I try that one, can we take a look at it? Because I love the website. I hope it's a really good wine. So tell the people that you're at least 19 years of age. That's interesting. It said 19, not 21, huh? I just looked at that. It says by clicking here, you verify that you are 19 years of age or older.
But isn't that because they're Canadian?
Perhaps. I don't know. I guess. Okay. So here we is, right? So let's look at, it says history in the making. Let's start there. So this does tell their story. They talk about the terroir. If you scroll down, you can see they talk about just their process, and they have a very different approach. And again, they tell the story about how the wine barrels were not widely available. Wine barrels are called barriques, and they are usually smaller than a typical whiskey barrel. Whiskey barrels are usually taller. So, now they're a thing. Plus, now they put wine and whiskey in different containers. In order to be bourbon, it has to be put in a new oak barrel, but they do put other whiskeys in different types of containers as well. Let's take a look at the wine. You see they offer a Zinfandel as well. So they talk about the story, the barrel-aged wine, and how it's finished in the charred barrels. And then their vineyards and where they source their grapes. And so that's throughout California, practicing select parcels that are not, that are most expressive where the grapes are growing. And again, Zinfandel would be the type of wine. And then they talk about other types of grapes. That's the type of grape that they're using. And then scroll down and you see the wine. And they talk about the old wine Zinfandel, right? That is utilized and where. And a lot of the information here is talking about, again, terroir. What about the conditions? What about the soil? What about where it's growing? And all of these things go into what makes a really great wine. And if you scroll down, they talk about the actual barrels and the aging process. So I love the way the website looks. First of all, I just like the photos and just kind of the sleekness of it. But I also like that it was very forward and simplistic in how they explain everything. And then go down where it says storytellers. So it says, follow the journey of people just like you, striving to fight the norms of society, be disruptive in their field, and create new stories of their own. So up at the top, it says your story, because you can submit your story. If you have an interesting story, you can submit it to them and they may decide to use it and place it on their website. So let's go to influencers. Go to the first person, Arnold Henry. So this is Arnold Henry's story. So in this story, he kind of talks about how he grew up in the streets of St. Lucia, not Lucia, Lucia. And he talks about his journey, and now like he's a husband influencer, a dad influencer. I think that he's a motivational speaker. He's a published author, and that's his family, a picture of him and his family. And he just talks about his story. And I love this because they just take regular folks that submit their stories, that have something interesting to share, and they post them. So I really like this. I love seeing this. And their whole tagline is everybody has 1,000 stories to tell. And isn't that the truth? Don't we all have 1,000 stories to tell? Okay, let's go to the next person, Sarah. And I just wanted to show you all kind of the difference in these. You know, all the stories are very different. So she actually, you know, reviews restaurants. And she hangs out at all of these, you know, spots and does all types of reviews and things like that. So just, you know, all of the stories are really different. When you scroll down, you can see more about her story. I really, really encourage you all to go to the website. We're not going to play that YouTube because I don't want them to block me, right? So we're not going to listen to that. But if you're interested, please go and check it out. Scroll down. And then this is her story in text, basically, right? So she talks about where she went to school and university in Calgary and, you know, just her experience there. And all of the stories are really, really different. I like that they chose different people. Let's go back up. Look at the next person. So we got David. Right. So he's talking about his love for the mountains and hiking and the great outdoors. His story was also really cool. He did like a van life excursion. I don't know if you guys know about the whole van life thing, but that's like a thing where people just pack up their stuff and get a van and they just go wherever they go. Right. And kind of wind up wherever they wind up. So I like that. Scroll down. Again, we're not going to go to the YouTube, but I like the stories. So then they say, tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do for a living. And then the 3 words to describe yourself. And they ask that of everybody. So his were adventurous, creative, and funny sometimes, which I just thought it was funny that he said funny sometimes. And then he says, it says, what advice would you give to someone else who's in the middle of something? I can't see that part. Scroll up. Or down. Sorry. In the middle of creating their life story. So, and I did remember what he said though. Find what you love to do and surround yourself with people that support what you love to do and that you enjoy being around. I mean, simplistic advice, but great advice. You know, they say if you're doing something you love, it never feels like work because you're living your purpose. You're doing what you should be doing. So I love that. Let's go back up to the influencers. Let's look at Jennifer. I love that picture of Jennifer. Jennifer's a photographer, right? So she talks about her love of photography. Scroll down, and I'm sure somebody else took that picture of her, but it's Doesn't she look like somebody that would be like on a country album or something? That's just what I thought when I saw her. But I thought it was a beautiful picture. But she talks about just her love of photography and how she's loved it ever since she was a kid. Scroll down. And then her words to describe herself: ambitious, compassionate, and a geek. She didn't mind saying that. And she talked about her goals that she has for herself. And she talks about how she views herself as a hustler, right? But she said that her goal is she wants to be the best photographer and videographer she can, best photo editor, the best travel blogger. She wants to be the best at whatever it is that she's pursuing. And in all that, she says she wants to be a nice person as well, which is important because all of that doesn't matter if you ain't a nice person, right? Scroll down a little bit. Okay, so they have it linked where you can look at the other stories. But again, if you are interested, you can submit your own story. So let's click on your story. So they have the maker, the cowboy, the traveler, and the musician, because these were all the people that they profiled. But where it says contact us, that's where it is. Contact us. It says, do you have a story you want to share? Or you want to know more about our 1,000 Stories wine? Let's talk. And you can message them. So this is really cool. I mean, this was different for a website for me, especially for a liquor website, wine in particular. But I thought that this was really unusual. And I like the whole we all have 1,000 stories, because when I just think about people, nobody is kind of that one thing that you think they are. They're always many things. We found that out when we interviewed Psalmist a couple of weeks ago, how multi-talented she is. And, we're seeing Psalmist in these Twitch streets, and who knew, right? Who knew all of the different things about her and her level of talent? So I really like this. Now, I love this website, you all. So I really, really, really hope this wine is good. So let's see. All right. So this is the bottle, 1,000 Stories, and I'm going to read it. So this is Zinfandel. Again, that's the type of grape. Oh, let me look at the front of the bottle, rather. It says bourbon barrel aged Zinfandel batch 89, California. The vent on it is 2021. And then on the back, it says 1,000 Stories is finished in charred barrels that once housed fine Kentucky bourbon. So they're very specific about where the bourbon came from. America's iconic spirit. No one alike, punctuation counts. Each batch of our bold Zinfandel brings distinct notes of blackberry spice and vanilla that deepen alongside char, smoke, and caramel from an unmatched selection of barrels. Each hand-selected lot is an expression of originality, a bold, spirited pursuit of doing things different. So here we go. All right. Don't let me down. I'm going to be so sad if this is not good. Probably sadder than I've ever been. So please be good. 1,000 Stories. And I will tell you, out of all of them, I think this was the least expensive. But I told you all of them were under $25. So all right. Beautiful gurgle. It smells like Zinfandel. Hey, Crazy Berry Town. To me, Zinfandel, I've always thought it had a beautiful gurgle. But to me, Zinfandel like always smells like when you're a kid and you think, okay, I'm gonna sneak and drink some wine that my parents have like laying around in a glass or something. It smells like wine, right? And again, I know that, I usually say do not say that, but it has that smell of like wine. I've always thought that about Zinfandel in particular has that sort of smell to me. So let's see what it tastes like. That's nice. Woo, thank you, Thousand Stories. It gets the hell yeah. Very, very smooth. It is not super sweet, which Zinfandel to me is like in the middle. Right? I've always thought that as well. It's not super sweet. You have white Zinfandel as well. This is a red Zinfandel, but it's not super sweet. It's in between a dry and a sweet. So I guess it's like a semi is what they would call a semi-sweet or semi-dry. But this is nice. Very, very smooth. I like it. So the glasses, I want to talk about those. And you see, I have different glasses. But one thing you notice about all of the glasses that I have, very open at the top, right? They call this a tulip glass or tulip shape or open bulb glass because it enhances the aroma of the glass, of the liquid inside. It enhances the bouquet. So all glasses in liquor are created with purpose behind them. They are to enhance the liquid that is inside. So even though all these glasses are designed differently, they all have the open bulb shape. And that is to enhance the aroma. And it's supposed to, of course, give a visual to the liquid that's inside of them. So this glass came from my house. I've had these for a long time, hand blown. I bought these at I think it was at a fair, some type of like outdoor fair. And I thought they were really cool. So I bought those. And then these glasses came from like a Home Goods type place, these two. And then this is an antique glass. Actually, I have two of these. At one point or another, I had more and some of them broke. But anyway, I like the design on them. So that's the reason why I have those. But that is the purpose of the shape of the glass. So if you've ever wondered why they're shaped that way, that's why. It's to enhance. So I only had one that I kind of gave a meh to it, but there was no Fraggle bullshit today. Like I like that. There wasn't any. That's pretty cool. There wasn't any Fraggle. Out of all of them, I am torn between the 1000 Stories because I really like this for the red, but then I also like this Chardonnay. I really like the Chardonnay as well. Now this girl TV, there was something you told me to come back to the carnivore. Is that right? I think that was the one. Yeah, she said to come back to. I'm going to come back to it because you suggested I let it sit. Now, I don't know. So you all help me. When we let it sit, is it because we're letting it breathe? And okay, you said, okay. Does it lets it breathe, and does that enhance the flavor? The breathing part? Okay, you all tell me because I don't know. I'm learning about wine, right? Okay, swirl it a bit and we're letting it breathe. Okay, so Ray Rap said yes. Natty said yes. That's what it does. Okay, so you all tell me, how does the breathing enhance the flavor? If you know. Let's see. Okay, now the first one I really liked. I did like this one, the Chardonnay. I like this. This was nice. Yeah. I do have more of a lean towards whites than reds, but lately I've been getting into some reds that I really like quite a bit. But I like that Chardonnay. Okay. I think it was I know it was the Carnivore. The Carnivore, you said, okay, so typically it's supposed to help you taste the tasting notes better in reds. Okay. So let's see. Because the Carnivore, that was the one that was, the meh. Yep, this is it, because I don't get much aroma on this one at all. All right, let me drink my water too in between. Let's see. It didn't help. I don't think the Carnivore is for me. It's very hard for me to imagine that even with a steak it would be better, but maybe it would be. I don't know. Okay. So Locke is shaking his head yes. I know he's a griller. You all know he's a griller too. But you're not really a drinker. So
But I do cook.
Okay, you do cook.
Wine.
So speak on this.
So I've used I've used Chardonnays as a marinade for beef.
Okay.
And
what about the reds?
Yeah, that's sorry, red. Sorry, I did say Chardonnay. I'm sorry, but I do use reds for to help flavor beef sometimes.
Okay. All right. So people are talking about the aeration. Okay, and explain that to the peoples, because it allows compound which can mask the wine's delicate flavors to evaporate. Okay. So an aerator is a device. Actually, it's like almost looks like a bottle cap that you can put on top of your wine. And then sometimes I think they have electric ones also. So it will help to enhance the flavors. And I knew that. I don't know in what way it does it, but you all are kind of explaining it to me. But I could see that. I could see it enhancing the flavor. And I would imagine it's a lot like, like adding water to whiskey or something like that to kind of alter the flavor a tad bit. So, okay, so you have one that is used, with the glass. Okay, you have to have the kind that's used with the glass. So maybe it would change the flavor of the Carnivore, but the Carnivore, that was the one I liked the least. I would say the others I enjoyed far more. My top pick, I think, is going to be the Chardonnay, probably followed by the Thousand Stories Zinfandel. Now, the whole purpose of this, of course, was they're finished in a whiskey barrel. And I wanted to know, could I tell the difference? Now, I've been drinking wine probably for about 3 years, as I said. And I'm saying drinking wine, trying different things, trying different types of wines. I have had a barrel finished or barrel cured wine before that I did not like at all. We actually had it at the reunion, and it was not this past year, but the year prior, and it was not good. Someone recommended it to me, and it was terrible.
Which one was it?
These are much better. I don't know. I know that I bought it at Aldi.
Okay.
And this is no slight on Aldi, because Aldi has
Aldi is the
they're the GOAT.
Yeah, Aldi, you can get anything. You can get your oil changed at Aldi. It seems like.
Just about. London said it wasn't me. No, it was not you. Someone else recommended it to me, and I did not care for it at all. And everybody who tried it at the reunion, they didn't like it either. No, I wind up just pouring it down the drain. Hey, little Miss Ruthie, thank you for the resub. So yeah, I didn't like that one, but I like these much better. So Ray Rap said, yes, we have to remember we have different palates. Some people like dry, some people like sweet. I am more on the sweet end of wine, or kind of like I said, I like Chardonnay because it's not overly sweet, or something in the middle. I don't really like the dries too much. I do like Riesling though. Rieslings can be dry, but some of them can be more on the sweet end. So this whole foray into wine is new for me. I still consider myself definitely a novice on this, but I enjoy learning. I'm very curious about it. Am I going to become a wine sommelier? No, probably not. I'm gonna stick to my whiskey. I'm gonna stick to my bourbon. But I really, really did enjoy trying the wines cured in the whiskey barrel, because now I can recommend some things to my wine drinkers, and so can you, hopefully, or some things that you all can try as well, right? I hope I gave you all some things that you can try too with the whole whiskey thing, or the whole wine thing, because that's what this show is about. Let's try some different things. Let's see what we like. And again, thank you for the reminder. I try not to yuck anybody's yum. And we do all have different palates, especially with wine. I find like you have wine drinkers from like A to Z. So, yes. So, everything got a good rating. We only had one meh, right? And that was this one. So, the review, the Beringer Chardonnay, aged 60 days. I give that a hell yeah. That was really, really good. I like that. I want to say this might be my favorite. Okay, so Ray Rapp said I learned a lot about wine by going to wine pairing classes, traveling to different countries, into the vineyards, Italy, France, Australia. Yes, definitely. I can see that. And I did, like Locke asked me, was I going to do any type of cheese pairing, have some like charcuterie and stuff like that, right? And I did think about it, but because I had such a vast array of wines, the pairing would have been a little bit challenging. But I did try a really, really good cheese when I was at the distillery, the Modern Art Distillery. I wrote it down because I wanted to remember. I had never had it before, but it was called Coppinger. And it was with a yuzu marmalade. And a yuzu, if you guys don't know what that is, I just recently learned what type of fruit it is. But it's like a cross between a lemon, a tangerine, and an orange. But it's really good. It was really good. Okay, so this girl TV said, I used to drink a lot of white wines, but one place did a red wine for a white wine drinkers class, and it was amazing. And it moved you to the reds. I agree, because I tried some red wines recently that I really, really liked, and I was strictly a white wine drinker. So also with the Beringer, remember, I tried this one. This was just their straight Chardonnay that came in a little to-go cup, and I could taste the difference between the two. I did like the finish with the bourbon barrel better. And then the next one was the Carnivore. That's all I'm going to say. I've already talked about this. Behold. It deserves to have the lights turned off on it. And then the Robert Mondavi, the Rye Barrel Aged Red Blend, which I like this. This was very smooth. I like this red blend nicely. It also got a hell yeah. And then the 1,000 Stories. Like that as well. And their website was absolutely wonderful. Yeah, the bottle. Hey, the Carnivore bottle, like it got me. I like that bottle, but Locke, you will have something you can marinate some steaks in, or whatever you want to marinate. But there you go. Okay. So Ray Rapp said, check out Total Wine. They have lots of wines and liquor classes that teach about wines and pairing with foods and chocolates. They only use Godiva. Godiva is good. I like Ghirardelli better, but Godiva is really good. And they're between $20 and $30. Hey, Blue Majesty, how you doing? Most definitely. And I encourage You all, I mean, I think Ray Rapp said it, but if you're curious about something, they have classes, they have tastings, they have all types of things. And the thing is if you do it and you don't like it, just don't do it again. It's as simple as that, right? But you don't know unless you try it. So, I'm with the wine. I've done wine tours that they have here in Georgia. They have some great ones that will, put you on the bus, take you to all of the different wineries. It's absolutely wonderful. Miss Ruthie, the carnivore bottle is awesome. I just didn't like it. I didn't know. I didn't like it. It didn't do it for me. But yeah, they have a lot of great wine tours. Check out your local areas. They make wine just about everywhere. Be honest, it's a lot like whiskey now. You can find it just about any place. So now that I know that wine originated in Georgia, it gives it a special meaning now when, next time I go on a wine tour, because I didn't know that. And Ray Rapp said, it's better to sip at a class and not like it than to spend $20 and have to throw out the whole bottle. That is true. Okay, so Little Miss Ruthie said Taylor Sherry is good. It's excellent for marinating beef. Okay. So yeah, and sherry is really good for marinating and for cooking with as well. I do know that. I'm aware of that. So again, I wanted to do this because it was something different. I wanted to try these. I'm not usually in the habit of drinking wine, but I did enjoy trying all of these different wines. So let me talk about what I got coming up, right? Because I got some stuff coming up. First of all, I will be back next week on the 21st with my pre-birthday show. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to be doing something. And I say I don't know, not because I don't have ideas. I have several ideas, and I don't know which one I'm going to utilize. So it's not I don't know. Yeah. Okay, it was your dad's favorite recipe. Okay, okay. I love that. That's cool. So yeah, but I will be back next Thursday talking about something, doing something. And always I want to say thank you to you all for being here. I appreciate you. Thank you, Cruz. Thank you, Natty. Thank you, Locke. Thank you, London. I appreciate you all for supporting me. And I do want to take a look at who's on. Don't forget the Mostly Serious History of Wine, the documentary that you can check out. It is really, really interesting. There were some other ones as well. Hey, Tiona, how you doing? I see somebody in here. Did I see that right? Okay. Anyway. Oh, okay. I got you. All right. So, okay. I'm looking to see who's on. There's a lot of people on. A whole bunch of people, like more choices than I thought I was gonna have here. All righty. And people that I've never rated before too. So, which I'm with. I'm with going to some different places. Okay. I mean, yeah, like I'm just, we're both like, damn, because it's like there's so many people on. I did see DJ Detroit though, correct? Am I correct? All right, let me support my Detroit fam. I'm from Detroit, so let's go to DJ Detroit. I don't think I've ever rated him before. I have? Okay, he said I have. Okay, I want to go to some. Okay, it's been a while. I want to go to some place I've never been. So can I look one more time? I'm so sorry. Okay, I've never been to IPA. Right? Okay. I would like to go to, oh, okay, I see Mai Tai. I don't think I've ever rated her either. Okay, let's go to Mai Tai. Let's go to Mai Tai. All right. So you almost went to Detroit. Let's go to Mai Tai. So I will be back next week. Again, thank you all so much. I appreciate you. Hopefully you have some good wines you can recommend to people, or you can try. Thank you all for your information and your knowledge about the wines. I really appreciate what you all had to offer. And we're going to go see DJ Mai Tai. And I will be back next Thursday with my pre-birthday show, talking about something, doing something. And I don't know, maybe eating some birthday cake. I don't know. I'll be doing something next Thursday. I just have to narrow it down and decide what are the ideas that are coming to the forefront. I have like 3 of them that I'm hatching up. But I will see you all in the Twitch streets. Gonna finish my Chardonnay. And yeah, go over there and tell Mai Tai, say, hey, DJ Tank, how you doing? Yes, I'm gonna be eating cake at some point. Yeah. Wanda said my real birthday. Right, where is D-Man? Right, where is he for my real birthday? Yeah, all of that. But cheers, y'all. It's good.